Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. In my previous video about the LEGO Builder app, I went through the main features, digital instructions, 3D zoom and rotate, QR code scanning, and I only briefly mentioned the little button called Build Together. There were some questions about it afterwards, and I think it deserves its own deep dive. So today we are going to see what Build Together actually does, how it works in real life with multiple builders, and whether it's just a cute gimmick or something you might actually use with friends or family. To test it properly, I picked two very different sets that both support Build Together. The first one is LEGO Botanicals 10349 Happy Plants, a small 9+ set with only 217 pieces. The second one is LEGO Friends 42639 Andrea's Modern Mansion, a giant teen focus set with 2275 pieces, 11 characters and a lot going on. Both are officially listed as Build Together enabled in the LEGO Builder app. So what is Build Together? LEGO originally launched it a couple of years ago as a beta feature in the old instructions app before everything moved over to Builder. It actually started as a fan idea, and LEGO even credits German AFOL Dominik Brachmanski as the inventor. The idea is simple. Instead of one person building while everyone else hovers around, the app splits the building process into micro tasks and distributes them between up to 5 builders, each with their own phone or tablet. Everyone works on little sub-builds, the app tells you who should pass what to whom, and in the end you all snap the whole thing together into the same final model you'd get if one person built it from the paper instructions. That early version has now grown into a full mode inside LEGO Builder. If a set supports it, you will see a Build Together icon on the set page, and there's even a curated list of compatible sets on lego.com. There are now hundreds of sets across themes like City, Friends, Icons, Ideas, so this is no longer a tiny experiment, it's quietly becoming part of the standard LEGO ecosystem. Let's test it first with the small one, Happy Plants, with 2 builders. This set already comes with 2 physical manuals, one for each plant, which makes it very easy to split the build. A lot of sets with this size don't have that option, most Speed Champion sets for example, so Build Together could be useful there as well. I simply didn't have any of those unbuilt lying around. So how does it actually work? You open the LEGO Builder app, scan the QR code or search for the set. Instead of Start Building, you tap Build Together. One device becomes the host and creates a session, LEGO calls these parties, and the app generates a pin code. The other builders join using the code. Once everyone joins, the host taps Start Party, and from that point the app becomes your project manager. Each builder now gets a queue of micro builds. These are small tasks, a wall section, a pod detail, furniture, wheels, and so on. The app shows which pieces you need and uses the same style of callouts like the standard LEGO Builder experience. So far, both builders are working from bag 1 here, and these are the micro builds or assemblies each has put together. Now, here's where it looks different from traditional building. Instead of building steps 1 to 10 after each other, the app assigns steps out of order to keep both builders busy. At one point, the host built steps 1 to 5 and 13 to 17, while the second builder did steps 9 and 10. It looks strange if you are used to the linear approach, but it does work and keeps everyone involved. Now we have reached the point where the host must hand over one of the assemblies to the second builder. The host then continues with the other assembly, while the second builder works on the micro build received, adding parts and previously built sub-assemblies. As you continue building, the main assembly returns to the first person. Both continue, but player 2 drops the bricks and must move on to bag 2. Player 1 continues building, receives the assembly from player 2 and finishes bag 1. This feels more like a cooperative game than simply 2 or more people silently building separate bags. LEGO even describes it as splitting a set into multiple manageable tasks so everyone can participate at their own pace. For a small set, this mainly does 2 things. First, it removes the "who gets to build this part" argument. The app takes the blame for splitting the work. Second, tasks are short and snappy, better for kids who might lose interest quickly. On the flip side, Happy Plants is so small that by the time you launch the app, create a session and join, one person could almost have built it alone. So I see this as a fun taste of the feature or a way to get smaller kids involved, not a necessity. Now let's scale up with the big friend set. We started Andrea's Modern Mansion after Christmas and we are continuing that session. Build Together sessions can be resumed anytime, which is very convenient. The larger set immediately revealed some challenges. It contains 17 numbered bags, offering plenty of opportunities to involve more builders. There were only 2 of us, but the build sequence was already more challenging in some respects. When following the paper instructions, you open only 1 bag at a time. If the build can be easily divided into separable sub-builds, such as the pots, as a second builder you can still follow the original sequence, just not necessarily starting with bag 1. In this case, the first time we stopped at the end of bag 5, but as you can see we did not touch bag 3 at all during the process. Now both of us are instructed to build from bag 6, and almost immediately we exchange some sub-assemblies. I had the main build up to this point, but now it is time to hand it over. As you can see, the role of main builder is not fixed either. Before completely finishing bag 6, we have these assemblies unused, and now we have to go back and open bag 3. After a few steps, we have only a single sub-assembly left from bag 6 for builder 2, but she was also instructed to continue with bag 3. And it gets more complicated. Bag 6 is still not finished, bag 3 is half assembled, and now I am supposed to open bag 7. The parts will be used, of course, everything goes into place sooner or later, but I strongly suggest using trays or some sort of organization to separate the contents of the bags to make it easier to find the parts. For AFOLs, it is a surprisingly effective way to turn I build you watch into an actual shared activity. You can build a larger set together with friends or family members who are not yet comfortable following traditional instructions. Speed or efficiency does not matter, the app handles task distribution. On the negative side, there is overhead. You have to launch the app, create the session, have everyone join, and keep multiple devices charged. For me, the biggest frustration was losing the big picture view of the instructions. Because the app constantly swaps sub-assemblies, you don't always see where you are in the overall procedure. That is not a huge issue for kids, but if you like to know what you are building or want to plan ahead, Build Together feels more like a stream of tasks than a sequence of pages. You also need more space to organize the contents of multiple open bags. So, what is my verdict after testing Build Together with these sets? For me, it is not something I would use every time I open a set, but when the conditions are right, like building with my daughter or friends, it can be genuinely useful. For happy plants, it offers a nice co-building experience if you prefer this method over building the 2 plants side by side. For the big friend set, Build Together feels more useful. You can appreciate having 2 pairs of hands working in parallel, but it gets a bit confusing at times and you do not always know what you are building. So, if you usually build alone and have not tried it yet, you will not miss Build Together at all. But if you often build with kids, partners or friends, or want to turn a big set into a social event, then it is absolutely worth trying at least once. I am also curious how it works for you. Have you tried Build Together already? Did you enjoy it? Or did you end up switching back to the standard instructions? Please share your experience in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.